In 1930, the Detroit United Lines abandoned and went bankrupt. Out of this vast system in Lower Michigan, the Algonac Transit Company would be formed. Located at the mouth of the St. Clair River is Algonac, Michigan, home of Chris-Craft Corporation. Chris-Craft needed to acquire an 8-mile railroad which would run between Algonac and Marine City for shipment of mahogany and coal and to ship boats out. Prior to 1930, during the Detroit United Railways line that ran by Chris-Craft, steam locomotives were often seen switching the Chris-Craft plant. Chris-Craft Corporation was also switched by electric engines, like this one shown in Marine City in 1926. On November 12, 1930, the Algonac Transit Company was incorporated, issuing 250 shares of stock at a par value of $100 for a total of $25,000. The stock was divided between J.W. Smith, 84 shares, Bernard T. Smith, 83 shares, and Owen N. Smith, 83 shares. The Algonac Transit Company, which appeared on the general ledger of the Chris-Craft Corporation beginning in 1930, was established as a private carrier, and as such was restricted to the conveyance of products and materials solely for the Chris-Craft Corporation. Chris-Craft's first acquisition of a locomotive was this 25-ton chain-driven gasoline-powered Plymouth. As you will see in the photo, there are Pure Marquette boxcars lined up to be loaded with boats. These were special boxcars which had ends that opened. Runabouts could be stacked one on top of the other, loaded from the ends. Here, a 35-foot stateroom double cruiser is being prepared for shipment on the Algonac Transit. The cradles are secured to the flat cars by blocks of wood, nails, and bolts. The boat will be covered with the tarpon for shipment. Here at Algonac during World War II, landing barges were made for the Navy. Across the street directly at Chris-Craft, landing barges were stacked all the way around the plant, awaiting shipment for when the Navy needed them. When the Algonac Transit Company received the order to ship all of the boats for the war effort, the Algonac Transit Company received from the Department of Defense money for rail and ties to make sure that the 8-mile line was in excellent operating condition. The Algonac Transit Company received priority for flat cars for when this shipment had to be made. Chris-Craft officials acknowledged the 10,000th landing barge to be shipped in 1945. The Algonac Transit Company made interchange with the Port Huron and Detroit Railroad in Marine City, Michigan. Here we see Walt Warkentine posing with the 3-axle, 35-ton Plymouth locomotive in the early 1940s. The Algonac Transit Company through the years was known as the Toonerville Trolley because its tracks ran along M29 north of Algonac to Marine City. Here again we see one of the Warkentines as the train heads south to the Algonac plant. The Algonac Transit Company owned 2 Plymouth locomotives, a 35-ton and a 25-ton. Both locomotives were painted fire engine red. Here we see Ed Druard and Jim Pocklington, who is seated in the cab, playing engineer and brakeman. This photo here, taken in 1949 in Marine City, Michigan, shows on your left engineer Wayne Cooper and on your right brakeman and switchman Francis Muskokeman. The station in the background is the Port Huron and Detroit Railroad, which was the office for the interchange with the Algonac Transit. The Algonac plant manufactured marine motors for Holland and Cadillac. When these motors needed to be shipped to other plants to be installed in boats, the Algonac Transit would ship them. All of the departments at Chris-Craft, when they needed materials, would generally receive them by rail. The Algonac Transit Company's tracks ran directly in front of the plant along M29. and then the track proceeded over by the boiler house and marine motors. Around the boiler house, coal was brought in for steam for heat, and on the eastern side of the plant, a track was located that went down to the river to load boats on flat cars and in boxcars. On the east side of the main hull plant, where the tracks ran down to the river for loading boats on flat cars and boxcars, a small engine house was built to accommodate the Algonac Transit Company's 2 Plymouth locomotives. They were stored here when not in use. In 1941, Don Moore of Mount Clemens, Michigan, came to Algonac and photographed the Algonac Transit right-of-way. His reason for doing this was because the Algonac Transit Company was one of the few railroads in Michigan utilizing ex-interurban track. This picture here, looking east towards Henry, shows the parallel Algonac Transit tracks to M29. This photo, taken at Liberty and Michigan Street, looks towards the Chris-Craft plant. To the left, we see Townsend Lumber Company, which received lumber and coal via the Algonac Transit. If we look directly to the right, the pointer will show the Chris-Craft water tower. Looking down Michigan at Smith Street, looking towards the Chris-Craft plant, slightly to the right of the track is Chris Smith's home. And slightly to the left of the track at the corner of Michigan today is Gilbert's funeral home. This photo looks north along M29 north of Roberts Landing. The black streak between the tracks is grease from the chains from the 25-ton locomotives. This photo, taken in 1955 by Emery Steesed of Marine City, Michigan, shows the train heading towards the Chris-Craft plant in Algonac. In the background, to the right, is the old Detroit United Railways streetcar station. You will notice that the windows are still bricked up. The Algonac Transit Company main track always went through downtown Algonac, scattering cars when its horn would blow. This day in late 1957, engineer Wayne Cooper stopped the Algonac Transit train in the middle of Algonac so these photos could be taken. The photo here looks north on Michigan Street. The car is coming off Smith Street. Time was running out for the Algonac Transit Company. The picture taken in front of the guard shack shows engineer Wayne Cooper preparing one of the last trains to leave the plant in the fall of 1957. Late September of 1957, the last Algonac Transit train prepares to leave the Chris-Craft plant. Amongst its loads that it is taking out today, on the rear of the train are flat cars with boat stalls. This is one of the last known pictures of the Algonac Transit at the plant. After the end of the Algonac Transit Company, in September of 1957, trucks would be hauling all of the materials needed for boat manufacturing and shipping. The few artifacts saved from the Algonac Transit Company is this bell from the 35-ton Plymouth locomotive. On September 15, 1957, the Algonac Transit's obituary appeared in the Port Huron Times-Herald with a brief history.
We did it.